A Minor Variation by Not Murphy. Chapter 13 For Want of a Battle, Part 4. Six ponies set forth with renewed determination, feeling that their goal was now close. Over the next rise they espied crumbling ruins. A large open room with a stunted tower remained standing. Littered wreckage was all that was left of the rest, covered in moss, grass, and vines.
"This must be the castle of the royal pony sisters,"
Rarity said, feeling a touch of awe at finding such an artifact of equestrian history just lying there, in the middle of an inhospitable jungle, guarded by monstrous beasts and cruel weather.
"Maybe. It's not so surprising no pony has ever tried to reclaim our history. I'll worry about history when we have a future again."
Royal Pony Sisters? Who are they? Rainbow asked, trying to recreate the original structure in her mind.
"I'm not really sure. They're only referenced in the really ancient texts, the ones we have no copies of." "Thanks again, your majesty. You've managed to make your own past a mystery to us. Oh, we could just ask you. But who would be rude enough to bother the princess?"
She rolled her eyes.
"Things were going to be different in the future. Oh, yes, they are."
Fluttershy looked at the ruins, what seemed sad and lonely to her.
"Ponies used to frolic here. What happened?" "Well, what do you think of it, Diane?"
She hadn't said more than 4 words to the odd pink pony. Not directly, anyway.
"I think this building should be condemned. There's serious weather fatigue in all the low-bearing stone columns and—" "What?" "I meant, can you believe there used to be a castle here?" "I can believe 12 other impossible things in a day. Why?" Never mind. Confound these ponies."
Nothing like a good old-fashioned Ghostbusters reference to get us started in the morning, eh? Hey, what about that weird thing up there? Rainbow pointed to an abstract sculpture in the center of the courtyard. 5 spears suspended in corroded metal cups, radiating from a central structure.
Okay, yes. Those are the items in question, but...
You said, well, Rainbow Dash. The pony in question put on her high society snoot accent to imitate the increasingly irritated unicorn. If you find an artifact, you can have a name in saying it. And I did. So now you got to.
There is absolutely no way are you calling the elements of harmony.
I think you mean the Flashworks elements of harmony, don't you?
This is an important piece of our history, you little twit. How can you expect me to?
Oh, Mary, you should see the look on your face. I'm just bucking with you. I don't want you to rename them. Excuse me? What do you mean, buck? That's what my family does for a living, and I don't appreciate you using it like a dirty word. Not that I do. Jackie pressed her face up against Rainbow Dash, glaring her in the eyes. Rainbow backpedaled quickly. Will, hey, I didn't mean it like... We're used to that way all the time. We can get back to saving the world now. Elzac made air hose. Twilight walked over to where the Pegasi had piled the 5 spears.
Okay, Rarity, we found them. How do we use them?
Rarity looked at the stones, unsure but unwilling to admit it.
The book said that a spark would reveal the last element. They were obviously referring to magic, but I'm not sure. Well, leave it to me, dear.
Twilight prepared to speak.
Oh, heavens, please don't offer to help me. That came out wrong. You're still requiring from your impressive display earlier. I couldn't conscientious you getting hurt straining yourself. Please, this is what I do. Oh, good, that mollified her. It certainly has been a while since I was genuinely worried about hurting some ponies' feelings. I really hope I know what I'm doing.
Okay, Rarity's got this magic angle covered, girls. Let's give her some place so she can concentrate.
What on earth are you doing? No, don't leave me here unguarded!
Rarity shouted, halting the retreating ponies.
Certainly, stay over there by the walls. But really, we should try to set up a scenario where...
A black wind began to rise from both stones, swirling and gaining solidity as the stone spears lifted from the ground in an eerie blue glow. Began to... With a loud crash, the magical cyclone burst apart as a flash of yellow and pink dived into it in a sharp counter-rotation. The spears dropped back to the ground, and the nightmare hit the ground, far more surprised than injured. Surprise gave way to anger quickly. "How darest thou to strike royalty as punishment by death?" Her mane crackled with raging arcane power.
Nightmare Moon, Mistress of Darkness, we need to talk,
Rarity said, holding one of the stone spears in a hoof. "Phone! The time for talk will come when I descend upon you in vengeance and you beg for mercy."
No, I'm quite fine here, Your Majesty. This is your court, after all, isn't it?
"Thou seekest to use the elements of harmony upon us, then hast the temerity to beg pardon."
I can see I have your full attention. Allow me to fix that.
Rarity raised the stone above her head. Both foreholes pulled back as far as they could reach. Nightmare Moon looked on in disbelief. "You're joking, right?"
Hiya!
The white unicorn brought the mystical artifact down on its other pieces, causing them to shatter into tiny shards.
Sister, you have the wrong pony for humor.
Verity deadpan. "What is the meaning of this? Thou seek to serve the Night Court?" The lunar mare was taken aback. She hadn't expected her many to solve her voluntarily. This was a good sign. Perhaps she could afford some leniency.
No.
"No!" Did the nightmare seem hurt?
First of all, may I be the first to welcome you back to Equestria, Princess of the Moon.
She gestured to the others, who had gathered at the edges, to come forward. Your Majesty." Twilight nearly choked on her tongue, biting back the bile she felt. "This is for the best. We discussed this. But you make one move, and I will treat you so hard you'll be spitting bark for the next millennium. You have hurt my family, and after this is over, we're going to have to discuss that. But for now, I extend the same courtesy to you that I would to any pony who has been away from their home for too long." "I can understand the feeling unappreciated when you return to a place you fell a part of and nobody wants to see you. Your Highness." "Okay, Arwen's cool. You could work on the attitude, though. Seriously, but we'll go home, Princess."
We don't want to fight you, Your Majesty. We just want what's best for everybody. Please accept our welcome. Welcome back. 1,000 years is a long time, Your Highness. You might want to see that your subjects are like now before continuing old policies.
Nightmare was torn. Fealty of any stripe was a gift rarely offered to her. But their obvious disrespect, their open defiance of her glorious eternal night. Some discipline was in order. "Who dost thou believe thyself to be, that thou mayst speak to such piety royalty?"
"Oh, we are but the new bearers of the elements of harmony, Your Majesty. You don't really think that hunks of rock can represent peace, love, and tolerance, do you?"
Don't smirk. For all the love you hold dear, do not beat this one.
Twilight Sparkle, who used her powers to find a long-lost sister, even when she feared she would lose her home and friends, represents the spirit of
honesty. Cue the awesome music. I think for this one, maybe the Winx opening.
Diane Pye, who seeks to heal the sick and weigh the weak while shunning positive recognitions, represents the spirit of kindness. Applejacky, Orange, who was able to find humor in adversity and sacrifices her own pride for the feelings of others, represents the spirit of laughter. Don't ask. Rainbow Dash, who continuously seeks to sacrifice her possessions, time, and energy to aid others, in what I can only assume is some sort of guilt-triggered psychosis.
Can we please get to commentary? Rainbow growled.
Just say it. Represents the spirit of generosity. And Hurricane Fluttershy, whose single-minded devotion to the welfare of others leaves her as the only qualified candidate to be the spirit of loyalty.
Joking! That is what you're doing, correct?
I can almost comprehend it. Thou hast not even named the sixth element. I was getting to that. But I really don't know how to explain
Verity Bell, loving sister and daughter, Twilight offered.
Adoptive mommy to a cute little dragon,
Fluttershy added.
Responsible adult who takes her obligations seriously,
Diane muttered. A no horse apples make you don't want to buck with, Rainbow Dash quipped. A pony who sees her chances and is brave enough to take them. Jackie finished.
Is that really how you all see me? Those are probably the nicest, if both haphazard, things any ponies have ever said about me. I'm not going to cry. Rarity, Ben, you're not going to... Oh, darn it.
Silence! We have had enough of this nonsense. Bow to your princess of the night and be spared. Defy me and be obliterated. We will have respect, or we will inspire terror.
Okay, I've had enough. Princess Nightmare Moon, if you expect us to respect you, the first thing you need to do is stop throwing a tantrum. The second thing you must do is demonstrate you deserve respect by providing some yourself.
Diane said her piece, waiting to be atomized afterwards. Luck was with the pink pony, and the enraged goddess was so angry, so he preferred shouting to smiting at this point. Enough, I say, again! Thou sound like our overbearing sister! 6 ponies stopped whatever backup plans they were repairing, to stare anew at the nightmare. As one, they spoke, Sister! Thou art greater foes than I dared expect. Of course, this oblivious Celestia is our sister.
Oh, you've got to be kidding me. This whole mess is some, what, goddess-sized version of a sibling spat? Do you realize how many ponies you've hurt in the process?
Twilight Sparkle had had enough.
Enough and too much. I bet you have some stupid idea that by putting out the sun, you're going to force ponies to love the night. Is that about right? When thou speakest, it sounds less divine, but...
Newsflash! Diane was right! Things change!
I, for one, always loved stargazing.
Of course, you ruined that for me.
Anytime I look at the night sky, I'm going to see your stupid
star hair! Don't forget Dance Club, Circle Q.
Yeah, whole scene of dancing that only starts after the sun has set. Lots of singing, ponies mating, friends, and sometimes finding some pony to go home with, if you guess my drift. So, such things are to be expected. You will continue under my reign. Nah, see, that's where you're wrong, princess. If it's always night, then there's something special about it. If there's something special about it, then what's there to celebrate?
Rainbow asked so easily.
You see not. The night is dwarfed by the day. To truly flourish, it must be... Nothing in isolation. My entire childhood was spent around rocks. And yet, I learned of you and see a pony who was confused to a single rock. I'm so sorry. Whatever you did, whatever you wanted to do, no pony deserves that.
Diane let tears fall as they would, approaching the mare of the night.
Urchin, keep thy distance! We warned but once!
They were conversing from all sides now.
You made your own sister hurt you. How must that burn?
Twilight tried to imagine doing something similar, but her mind rebelled.
Well, for 1,000 years, all you could do was once.
Riverside considered it and shuddered. They just kept getting closer. What do you want from us? Stay back! Nightmare Moon struck out with the pink one. It was almost breathing on her. She fell back, bouncing once, picked herself up, and tried back again.
Your ambitions are going to hurt a lot of ponies. And I don't think you're strong enough to survive the guilt. Please, let us help you,
Rainbow Dash begged.
If you wish to serve, stay back!
The unicorn, the white one, actually put hooves on her.
Shh, hush now. We don't need to shout at ponies. Let it all out.
Rarity called on every technique she had ever used for caring for her sister and Heath Spike. One by one, the ponies held the princess surrounding her, making escape impossible. Her own power seemed to betray her. Her agitation so great, she couldn't even dissipate the smoke. One final scream of rage and frustration and pain escaped her, and the 6 completed their circular group hug. I love the moment, even when it turns into a giant rainbow hug. And then, the world exploded. Chapter 14, For Want of a Battle. Part 5. Timber wolves snarled in frustration, luminescent purple blocking their path. Behind them, a patch of the night sky prowled upon their paws, snarling with violet eyes that threatened a swift end to any ponies caught. Shining Armor considered the situation. Oh, Mayor, we are so... Why do I have the sense of deja vu? He's slipping! Mr. Apple, stay with me, okay? The doctor's got... Mr. Ugh. Mr. Apple was my father. I don't think you can call me Big Mac by now. That's Sonny. I thought your dad's name was Mud. The Red Stallion's eyes were fully open now. I ought to whoop your hide, you stuck up, no good son of a... Arrgh! You've got to live to kick my flake, Mac. Come on! I think I see... No. Is it possible? What? Hey, city boy. Some of us don't have a good view of Nagel right now. What do you see? I think it's the sun. By Celestia's hairdresser. I think it's the feathered sun! Yup. They awoke, piled on the floor. Blue, pink, yellow, purple, violet, orange, and white. The pink one contemplated her last waking vision, a rainbow swirl of colors, as he desperately held on to the screaming princess. A mass of confusing emotions roiled within her, wonder at the beauty of the colors, and horror at the seeming explosion of the night pony, a relief at not being covered in blood upon awakening. Her hair was oddly curled, and her mouth couldn't stop curling upward at the edges.
Stop that! I'll adjust these feelings later, but there's work to be done.
Her hair relaxed, but her mouth retained a certain curve that was starting to feel sore.
Legs, hooves, wings, horns, tails. Count your own and check the pony next to you. I want to know what treatment is needed. ASAP!
She barked, turning in a circle to check herself. Once the ponies were satisfied that all limbs were in correct order, they continued to be counting ponies, only to be distracted when...
Rainbow, when did you switch hairstyles? Come to think of it, when did you get your hair back?
Where are you? What the hey? Rainbow's mane was back, with a vengeance, reaching nearly to the floor, with the end curling into a tight spiral. A moment's inspection revealed her tail had regrown again as well, down in a loose corkscrew.
Mane, that's so impractical. Now I get to cut it all again. Well, you do look fabulous, darling.
Verity was slightly unnerved by how similar the style was to her own childhood affection.
I'm sure it doesn't mean anything.
Something nagging at twilight. How many unicorns did we start with? I thought it was 2.
Trixie thinks it was 3. Trixie, get out!
Well, guys, maybe it was 4.
Sunset!
No, I do believe it was 5. Starlight, no!
I think maybe 6.
No, Dancer!
Yes, dear. You and me. Why, hello. Who are you?
Verity asked the smoky blue, violet unicorn. She seemed confused by the question.
Oh, we are the name Luna. We do humbly thank you all.
First I felt confused.
Mary? That's an extra Pegasus. Unicorns have wings. Have horns, not wings.
Well, that's because I am. Nope, pretty sure that's a horn there, Twilight said, gesturing at the object in question. Yeah, well, that's a wing right there. Rainbow Dash pointed her other hoof, holding her hair out of her eyes.
That doesn't say this can all be explained simply.
Apple clicked around. Any poet knows this game, Briar. I thought I saw something in the terror a minute ago.
We are Princess Luna, Princess of the Night, and we are...
I am grateful to you all for freeing me from my... She was unable to finish the sentence, before she found herself swamped in ponies for the second time in one night. Finally free of the lurking terror of destruction, ponies laughed and cried freely. Each introduced themselves to the new pony, and they treated her as such, as a potential long-lost friend. In fact, Celestia's arrival went unnoticed. She even had to clear her throat dramatically. The response was equal parts obedience and defensive formation around Luna, a message of concern at the Solar Princess's potential reaction. It was all she could do not to laugh at the poor dears, which would not have been appropriate under the circumstances.
Well done, O true and faithful band of friends. Well done, my little ponies. This is my sister, as I have not seen her in 1,000 years, and you have my gratitude. Please, let me speak with her. They parted, however, reluctantly. Princess Luna, we were meant to rule together. Will you accept my friendship as well? She knelt, feeling as vulnerable and powerless as a foal. I am so sorry! I miss you so much, big sister! Luna nuzzled her long-lost sibling. Tears running down her cheeks. Diane's mouth curled up again. So, that's how it works. Wiping her eyes, Jackie spoke up.
This is great and all, but can we get back to civilization, please?
So they went home. 6 ponies entered town first, ostensibly to prepare for the Ponyville for a royal arrival and announcement. Every pony knew the real reason was so they could check on their family and friends to relieve their lingering fears. At Sweet Apple Acres, Jackie and Twilight found their brothers, as well as the Royal Guard Pegasi, sharing the Apples family's reserve stock of cider. Big Macintosh's ribs were bandaged, and shiny armor sported a black eye he seemed proud of. The wounds came with a story of an attack by Timberwolves, led by a creature Twilight identified as a Canis Major.
Next! Have you been pulling crud again?
What? No, not at all! The two seemed to be the worst injuries in town, and the guards were relieved to be sent back to see the princess. Rarity managed to embrace Spike, Sweetie, her mother, and father at the same time. They couldn't get her to stop crying, though. I don't think I'm ever letting any of you out of my sight again. I can't go back to Camelot like this. Maybe I can. Yes! She began writing a letter, pausing briefly to make sure her favorite ponies were still there on occasion. The entire weather team intercepted Fluttershy and Rainbow Dash, lifting them off the ground and parading them around. They laughed, they cried, they tried to make Fluttershy promise she wouldn't go running off into danger without them again. She smiled and politely refused to promise any such thing. The best got was, I'll make whatever judgment I feel is best at the time. Which in truth was more than she actually needed to. Rainbow Dash tried to make her escape, but her yellow friend wouldn't let her. You deserve this as much as least as I do. Oh, will you please stop crying? Please, you're gonna make me. Darn it. You know, I am right now playing Halicon and on from the Mortal Kombat soundtrack in my head. Police reported sightings of a pink blur around town, sometimes crossing its own path. Every elderly, infirm, and sick pony received a surprise visit from the local healer. She was respectful, precise, and perhaps a little gentler than usual. You know, you're only putting off the inevitable. We're not going away. You will be quiet while I work. When I am through, I'm certainly going to have a few things to say to you. It took us a few hours before everything had been sorted out. Ponies threw themselves into the celebration and a frenzied board of relief. Every pony wanted to see the Sun Princess and the new princess, and the brave band of locals who had... Nobody was entirely clear what their part was, but the princess seemed grateful and applied heroic deeds. Okay. I'm just thinking, what if this version of Rarity had to deal with Sunset? I mean, remember, the big change was Rainboom, no good. So, how would this Rarity deal with Sunset? Sunset Simba, I do believe we have a long discussion ahead of us. I'm listening.
Quick, somebody who's listening to this and is a fanfic writer, write that down. I think Knight Murphy would like it.
The apples were still in town, leaving Jackie and lost in a sea of ponies, laughing and trading quips with her extended family, as Granny Smith ran them by with ruthless efficiency. Macintosh was allowed to rest quietly to the side, exchanging dignified nods with his cousins. Apple Bloom ran back and forth with abandon, constantly under hoof with the orange fillies he had met at the celebration. Hi, Scoots! The Bells embraced their missing sister/daughter, and any pony who got too close. Heavy Tone went to shake the hoof and hug the other heroines. If his loving wife, Clarity Bell, hadn't caught him by the collar,
He probably would have tried to bear hug royalty too. Sweetie couldn't stop hopping around and laughing. Spike trailing her, holding a golden tiara over his head and making whooshing noises. Rarity was lost in thought, but made an effort to respond whenever she was being addressed.
There's so much, I don't even know where to start.
Every remaining Pegasi in Ponyville lined up to congratulate Weather Captain Fluttershy on her obvious heroism. She nearly went catatonic.
You can do this. It helps them feel safe. They're all happy to see you. You can do this, Fluttershy.
The look of pride on her flight school friends gave her helped a great deal. A brown earth pony in line nonchalantly asked her for an autograph.
You know.
But before they become a collector's item, yeah? It's fascinating this way, don't you?
Where am I? Oh, he's gone again. You seem to do a lot of running.
Diane refused to stay at the gathering.
There's no way Ponyville General has the capacity for all the bumps, bruises, and complications that must have cropped up. I'll be back as soon as I see the extent. Cross my heart by earth and sky.
She trotted away and was back 15 minutes later. A grayish purple unicorn filly stopped her and gave her a noisemaker, but she accepted with some confusion. After asking Rainbow Dash for instruction, she tried it. Her ears went back as she dropped it in surprise. She blushed as the surrounding ponies laughed good-naturedly.
This will take practice.
What? Using a horn? Rainbow asked.
No. Being happy.
Diane, that was so random. Sorry, that does something weird. But can I say anything? We should hang out sometime, though. Without the horrible monsters and possible end of the world.
Let's see. Sharpen, take a breath. Shake the diagram rapidly while exhaling a short burst.
The pink pony chuckled awkwardly.
Pinky, you should really... Diane, you really should laugh more often. You sound good at it.
Whoa, didn't think you had a sense of humor. That must be even more awesome than... Glad you feel like you could do that around us. Laugh, I mean.
It would seem we all have holes to fill. Together, it doesn't seem to matter as much.
She tried smiling again. It was getting easier with practice. After getting it all clear from Diane, Shining Armor was under an assault of affection from his sister. Both tried to apologize for failing to adequately protect each other. When that failed, they both tried criticizing the other for recognizing endangering themselves and leaving the other to worry about that. In the end, they both simply smiled. Twilight's question was so casual, Shining Armor almost missed it.
So, BBBFF, what's this I hear about you having a mare friend? Any pony I know?
Funny you should ask. Seriously, what is up with these mares? They seemed good for Twilight, though.
I don't know. I mean, 5 friends with differing attitudes and differing desires and all have their own unique paths and ways of looking at the situation and all of these really weird personalities. I don't know, Shining. I don't know. Maybe it might work out. What do you guys think? Do you think these mares are good for Twilight?
All good things must come to an end. Not for me, they do. And after the party was over, after the streamers had been slipped up, the food containers dealt with, and the ponies stumbled their way, mostly, to their respective homes, the 6 and 2 found themselves alone. Granted, there were some 6 guards, and a captain, and a stray older brother who was taking a while getting up and moseying home, but close enough. The quiet stretched comfortably. Before it could become uncomfortable, Celestia spoke. You must all be pleased this adventure is over, and you can all return to your normal lives. Celestia smiled benevolently at them. Rarity cleared her throat, perhaps a little strongly.
Actually, Your Majesty, I have a few things to say before we can restore normalcy, as it were. First of all, I've already begun to work to start an archaeological expedition to recover what history we can piece together from the ruins of the castle of the Royal Pony Sister. I trust neither of you have any complaints on that account. Both princesses shook their heads. Good. That was the easy part. Princess Celestia, my liege and truly a pony to be admired. I understand I speak with all possible respect when I say, how dare you! Every pony was taken aback.
The guards started forward before the Soul Princess waved them off.
Where are you going with this, my little pony?
It had been centuries since he had genuinely been challenged. She liked to believe that was because he had discovered benevolence. But nothing goes unchallenged and remains uncorrupted. So she listened.
How dare I what? Assisted Professor Rarity Bell of Canterlot Central's University Historical, Archaeological, and Arcane Research Department. How dare I what?
Was there just a hint of threat there? Daunted, but outbowed, Verdi proceeded.
How dare you intentionally keep us in the dark about the threat of Nightmare Moon? How dare you allow enough history to be forgotten that the existence of a second alicorn... Twilight, is something wrong? My false sitter was an alicorn. That is to say, she had horns and wings. I was a foal. I didn't think about it. I just knew she was special to me, and I didn't see why she should be special in general, too.
She glanced sidelong at her brother, who was being suspiciously quiet.
That's going to bear investigating.
Assuming Rare doesn't get us all banished, locking a dozen in the place where we're banished, and forced to retake Magic Kindergarten! She moved next to the white unicorn, despite her fears.
That is exactly what I'm talking about. Secrets everywhere. Are you ever going to let the public know about the terminal failure? What other ancient events are hidden under the rocks? What aren't you telling us?
She was working herself into a state of frenzy. Her friends all gathered around her. Diane placed a hoof on her neck and nodded.
Can't you trust us, Princess? Haven't we proven we'll do anything to protect our homeland?
Celestia sighed, and for a moment it was possible to believe that this was a creature who lived longer than a millennium, who had a receptive respectability for a nation, watched her children grow of old age, only to be replaced in turn. All the while, knowing her closest kin was near enough to be felt.
I have entrusted you with my life, the welfare of my sister, and fate of my country. I will never make you endure more than I know you can handle, whether you believe it or not. The elements, like your cutie marks, could not be explained before you reached the realization on your own. If you had known Nightmare Moon was my sister, you would have hesitated to stop her. If you had known Nightmare was coming, you would have destroyed her.
She looked at her sister, who shuddered and nodded.
I allowed Nightmare Moon to be swallowed by history for two reasons. The benevolent reason is that ponies living in fear are always afraid, and become tractable enough to be selfish to those who find levers.
So he indulged a speculative glance at the ivory unicorn, who was looking slightly green.
My other reason is entirely selfish. If most of ponykind knew of Luna's full history, she would be facing a much harder time being accepted again. I have preserved copies of all the ancient records, and they will be released when I feel Luna is ready for the outcry they will cause. Oh, you magnificent nag! Not only is there nothing I could say to that, but now I have to deal with my own actions before I can pursue this again. Truly, you would have made an excellent teacher.
Rarity paused and considered the ponies she had hurt over the years, in defense, anger, rarely in spite, and never for personal gain. That didn't justify her actions, and she had felt more, even since the harmonation.
Very well. I accept your implied challenge. I will make amends with every pony that I have hurt that I possibly can. Even... Oh no.
Jackie noticed the blood draining from Rarity's face first. Hey, Rare, you okay?
Oh no. No. Of all the worst things, this is the worst possible thing!
Her pupils shrank back to pinpricks. Ponies fought against panic. Fluttershy pressed her question.
Why, Rarity, what is it? I think I need to apologize to Miss Blue Blood.
She felt ill. All the tension ran out of the meeting. Princess Celestia promised to correspond with a group of friends and explain more of the coming events and made her escape, taking the guard and the captain with her. The group began chatting amongst themselves, getting to know these strange, wonderful ponies they now found themselves tied to. As the sun progressed, somewhat faster than usual to make up for the long night, Rarity had a thought. I dragged every pony into the train station, sending Fluttershy to receive Spike, Sweetie Belle, and Apple Bloom. Night fell in Canterlot.
One house on the edge of town was open, but nearly empty. A despondent unicorn shared a strange smile with her two friends. Moon Dancer supposes it was silly to think anybody would even remember. A loud knocking came from the front door. She flew there and opened it to find 6 bears, 3 fillies, and a baby dragon on the other side. What? Oh, Moon Dancer, dear, please tell me you didn't counsel. I told you I'd be here at the world didn't end. You do have room for a few of my friends, don't you?
And amending fences was predicted. Congratulations, Aunt Murphy. You have joined the We Somehow Managed to Predict the Plot of the rest of the series group. Please walk over here and stand with Penstroke and K-Cat.
Rainbow Dash fiddled with the lump of gold around her neck, as the others fiddled with the pony milk machine.
Hey, does anybody else have a jewelry they don't remember owning?